Welcome back. The National Assembly has approved what has now become a controversial piece of legislation, the Transport Laws and Related Matters Amendment Bill. The bill amends the South African National Roads Agency and National Roads Act of 1998 to provide more effectively for law enforcement relating to collection of tolls. Introducing the bill, the Minister of Transport, Ben Martins, said the financial reality of South Africa is that there is a growing budget deficit that, if allowed to increase, will be detrimental to the economy and growth prospects.
The non-collection of tolls may impact negatively on the ability of SANRAL to raise capital for infrastructure development projects. The bill must be seen in the context of government's plans to fund the envisaged infrastructure program. SANRAL has issued bonds to fund the project of 24 billion plus capitalized interest amounting to approximately 3.4 billion that needs to be paid from the toll revenue. Failure to collect tolls and repay the bonds would have a very serious financial implication for SANRAL and for the national government, which approved guarantees in respect of most of the SANRAL roads. The inability to collect revenue will damage the credit reputation of SANRAL amongst investors who may price the bonds higher to cover the risk. This in turn would have a negative impact on both SANRAL and the government's credit ratings.
The chairperson of Parliament's Portfolio Committee on Transport, Nozabelo Bengu, said the legislation before Parliament is an enabling bill that seeks to create a conducive environment for development to take place. She lashed out at the opposition parties, which she said have reduced the bill to a form of payment collection.
The Gauteng Freeways Improvement Project, GFIP, addresses the problem of congestion of Gauteng roads, reduces the time of traveling and road accidents. It also reduces carbon emission and fuel consumption. These are socio-economic benefits that are usually overlooked in arguments against GFIP. A narrow perspective is unfortunately influencing perceptions against urban tolling and tolling of roads in general. Those with loudest voices and less development perspective have popularized such an important project as e-tolling, reducing it to the form of payment collection, resulting with a reducing it to the form of payment collection, resulting with a situation that denies people of this country an opportunity of understanding integrated transport system and appreciate the benefits of it.
Ian Ollis of the Democratic Alliance said his party was opposed to the bill because e-tolling was expensive and not affordable to South Africans.
Let's assume that what is affordable in Western countries is affordable in South Africa. Open road tolling is used mostly in Western, urban and first world environments. We have many toll roads in SA. The problem is that the people have balked at the costs of this e-toll. South Africans, apart from a few super wealthy, are not earning the same as Germans, Australians and Americans. If an individual earns 6,000 Rand a month and drives a second-hand car to work, that individual could be required to pay an extra 550 Rand a month for toll fees. That's a big chunk out of your salary. That's the problem. The third lesson is that should be learned from the e-toll saga is that politicians cannot abdicate responsibilities to officials and civil servants to get on with it. This leads to a lack of understanding and accountability. Cue the video of Minister Ndebele shouting down the phone, "Is that how much it's going to cost?" Apparently he didn't know.
Pakiso Mbele of COB rejected the bill. He said government's focus is entirely on the collection of tolls and not on transparency relating to where the money will go and what profits will be permissible.
Government needs to get back to the drawing board and undertake a cost-effective exercise. We agree with the Minister of Finance that we need more banks for our bucks and real value for our money. The license to print money is one that Congress of the People cannot grant to government. We cannot therefore, in good conscience, support this bill as it stands. If government wants more revenue, it must provide greater transparency and better accountability. For your information, nothing changed. COPE has never supported this bill and will never support it in its current state. I thank you, Deputy Speaker.
The Chief Whip of the IFP, Koos van der Merwe, said the bill is a rip-off to consumers.
Speaker, the IFP submits, as from the beginning, that the entire plan has been ill-conceived and poorly planned. We do not support the plan, we do not support the bill, and instead of waiting to vote next year, we will be voting today against this bill.
We have listened carefully to both sides of the argument, but we must confess to being puzzled by the role of COSATU in this saga. COSATU has been strongly contesting the controversial e-tolling system and the harsh impact it will have on motorists. Yet it has benefited from the project through its investment arm, Kopano Kimatla, to the tune of 24 million rand.
As a long-standing member of the Justice Committee, and the Minister of Justice is sitting here, and I'm sure he'll agree with me that he is painfully aware, and we are painfully aware of the workload that the criminal justice sector is strained in with at the moment. How will it be able to deal with tens, possibly hundreds of thousands of further summonses that would be issued for the non-payment of tolls? Surely this would cause our criminal justice sector to collapse. And surely it is also inherently wrong to make criminals of citizens who refuse to pay tolls after already paying for most of the cost of the construction of those roads. And this is an issue, Deputy President, we seriously need to consider.
We also believe this bill should partially be a Section 77 or money bill, as only the Minister of Finance can impose a levy on the public. It was acknowledged by the state and parliamentary legal advisors that a toll is akin to a levy, and that this bill contemplates a public relationship with the state's subjects. The logic is thus that the imposition of toll tariffs in terms of this bill and the existing Sunroll Act is unconstitutional in total.
When roads were being improved before 2010, before the 2010 FIFA World Cup, we were made to believe that the improvements were part of the legacy that the World Cup would leave for the country. Nobody said then that the roads would be tolled. We were not told that part of that legacy would be the e-tolls that we are now inheriting.
I've listened very carefully to members of the opposition, the points that they've made. But the fundamental question that we have to address, which in my opinion we have not adequately addressed, is how do we pay for infrastructure in this country? We have been very thin on how we do that. The issues that you have raised, I've spoken to the fuel levy. The fuel levy can't be the responsibility of everyone who does not utilize the toll roads in Johannesburg. The issue that we have to take responsibility for as the governing party, the very same people who criticize us today, if we as a government had to allow the roads of this country to degenerate, we will soon be told that the roads under apartheid were in a better state. We have the responsibility to maintain and develop infrastructure in this country, and we will continue to do so.
The bill was adopted by the National Assembly after 193 MPs voted in favour, while 98 voted against and 2 parliamentarians abstained. Following the adoption of the bill by the National Assembly, the draft legislation will now be referred to the National Council of Provinces for further debate and concurrence. It's now time for a break. A View from the House will continue in a moment. Stay with us.